The deep silence of space was broken by a single pulsing signal. It was not loud, it was not fast, it was steady, cold, and ancient. It came from the edge of the galaxy where no star shined and no ship ever returned. The Empire called this area the Silent Sector. For hundreds of years, it was left alone. Now, something had changed. The signal had returned. Commander Thren stood on the bridge of the Empire science vessel Vakral, staring at the screen. The signal blinked every 6 seconds. "How old is it?" Thren asked. The lead technician Jorah tapped a few buttons. "Over 10,000 years, Commander, but it's still active." Repeating perfectly, Thren's eyes narrowed. Location: Sector 9 Delta, near an uncharted planet. No known cities, just mountains and ocean. Jorah replied. Thren gave a slow nod. "Prepare a landing crew. We're going down." As the Vakral descended through Earth's quiet sky, the ship's scanners gave no signs of life. No heat, no energy, no artificial lights. Just clouds, trees, rocks, and silence. The crew wore thick armor suits and carried scanning tools. When they stepped out, the air was still. The planet looked like a tomb. There were no animals, no movement, only broken earth and rusted stone. "This place is dead," said Enar, the young scout. "Feels wrong." Commander Thren bent down and picked up a black stone. "Pre-war colony? Maybe. Something built here a long time ago and died." "Then what's sending the signal?" asked Einar. Jorah was already pointing his scanner at a hill nearby. "There's something under this mountain. Huge metal, maybe a city or a bunker." The crew followed the signal. As they climbed the rocky slope, the wind howled like a whisper. Enar kept looking over his shoulder. "Feels like we're being watched," he muttered. At the top of the hill, they found it a strange metallic surface, buried under centuries of dust and stone. It was smooth, cold, and black like obsidian. The signal was coming from beneath it. Jorah touched the surface carefully. "This isn't rock. This is part of a machine." Suddenly, the ground beneath them vibrated. "Quake!" Enar shouted. "No!" Thren said, stepping back. That was too focused. Then the signal changed. The repeating pulse became faster, stronger. Lights under the metal began to glow red. Lines formed across the surface, like circuits coming alive. Jorah said, his voice tense. "I think we just activated something." Back on the Vakral, alarms rang. "Power surge detected across the planet," the ship's AI announced. "Unidentified energy building under surface. Orbit shifting slightly." The pilot looked at the readings. "The planet's crust is moving. Something is pushing from below." Thren's voice came through the comms. "Get ready for liftoff. We're returning now." But it was too late. The sky darkened as black clouds formed in seconds. Lightning danced in silence. The wind howled louder. The earth groaned beneath their boots. From behind them, the hill split open with a deep rumble. A massive object began, rising from beneath the Mountina Tower, taller than any building they had ever seen. Made from the same black metal, a voice boomed through the airnaut, in sound, but in their minds, "You have trespassed." The crew froze. Jorah dropped his scanner. Did you hear that?" Enar was shaking. "It spoke, but inside my head." Thren pulled out his sidearm, though it was useless. Back to the shuttle. Now they ran, but the ground beneath them cracked. A large panel of earth opened, and long metallic arms reached out. They were not attacking, just watching. "You are not welcome." Back on the Vakral, systems began to shut down. Engines failed. Lights flickered. "External interference," the AI said. "Unknown source blocking all escape paths." Thren and his team returned just in time to watch a massive structure rise in the ocean miles away. A second tower, Jorah gasped. "There's more than one." On board the ship, a hollow voice echoed through every speaker. "This world sleeps. You should not have woken it." Thren stared at the main screen. "Send a message to the Empire." "Now," Jorah replied, "communications are jammed. Something is blocking all signals beyond this system." The Vakral crew watched as the planet began to change. Mountains moved, forests vanished as panels opened in the earth. Massive structures rose silent, deadly, and ancient. "This was no colony," Thren whispered. "This was the homeworld." Enar's eyes widened. "Of what?" Jorah turned pale. Of the ones who came before us. The ones we only heard of in legends. Humans. Data poured into the Vakrul's computers, nasked for unwanted schematics, maps. Warnings in ancient languages. One message appeared again and again. Do not awaken the Guardian. What is the Guardian? Thren asked. No one answered. But they were about to find out. A low hum shook the air. From the base of the ocean tower, a large shape began to rise. It wasn't a building, it was a ship. No, not a ship, a weapon. It was the size of a moon, shaped like a long dark spear, covered in armor so old it looked like bone. As it broke through the clouds, the tower spoke again. This is Arco 7, Guardian of Earth. Identity, human. Status, sleeping. Intrusion detected. Response, defense. Mode. A beam of white light shot from the ocean tower into space. A small moon nearby exploded. The Vakrul shook violently. Enar screamed, "We need to leave! It just destroyed a moon!" Thren's face was pale. We triggered an ancient defense system, and now it thinks we're a threat. Suddenly, all screens in the ship went black. Then one word appeared. Run. The crew stared at the screen. No one moved, no one breathed. Finally, Thren spoke. We escape orbit. The pilot nodded. Maybe, if we leave now, do it. The Vakrul's engines roared as the ship tried to lift off. The towers didn't attack, but they were watching as the ship left the atmosphere. One final signal followed. Them, a message sent directly to the Empire. This planet is not dead. It was waning. The Vakrul disappeared into space. Carrying the most dangerous discovery the galaxy had ever known, back on Earth, the towers sank slowly into the ground. The wind calmed, the sky cleared. Silence returned, but under the surface, Arcosa 7 remained awake, and it was listening. The Vakrul had escaped, but barely. Now orbiting far above Earth, its crew sat in silence, shaken. The shock from what they had seen still pulsed in their minds. Commander Thren stood quietly on the bridge, eyes fixed on the dark planet below. Status, he asked. Jorah, still pale, answered, engines recovered, comms are back online, but Earth isn't sending any more signals. Maybe it's asleep again, said Einar hopefully. Thren frowned. No, it's watching, back on the surface. All was still, no wind, no light, just gray sky and the quiet ruins of what looked like an ancient battlefield. Burned trees, crushed rocks, and half-buried machines that looked like tanks, but were shaped like animals. A second science team had been sent from the Vakrul. This time they were told not to go near the towers. They would explore another area nearby where strange energy was detected. For soldiers and two scientists walked slowly through a forest of black stone. Their boots crunched against cracked ground. Do you see that? Said Dr. Yala, pointing. Ahead, half buried in the ground, was a wide metal plate, covered in strange symbols. It looks like a hatch, one of the soldiers said. Dr. Yala wiped off the dust. The surface glowed softly, reacting to her touch. Then the symbols moved, not just lighting up moving. Like liquid metal forming letters, she pulled back her hand. This isn't a door, it's alive. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly. A thin line of light traced the edge of the hatch. The soldiers raised their weapons. Commander, this is Team 2. We may have activated something, awaiting orders. There was static. No reply. Then a voice spoke not from a radio, not from their helmets, but inside their thoughts. Access denied. Foreign species detected. To take. Blue glow lit the edge of the hatch. From it, a long arm of segmented metal unfolded, like a centipede made of sharp blades. Fall back. The squad leader yelled. They ran back, but the metal arm didn't attack it, scanned them one by one. A red light hovered around each person's head. You are not human. You are intruders. Suddenly, the ground around the hatch collapsed inward. A hole opened, revealing a deep tunnel glowing with orange lights. From deep within, a shape floated upward. It was humanoid, but larger, taller, made of smooth silver armor. Its eyes burned orange, and its voice echoed without speaking. Protocol 7. Engaged accessing planetary memory. The team stared in awe. Dr. Yala whispered, Is that a robot? No one soldier said quietly. It's a sentinel. The being looked at them silently. State your purpose, it said. Dr. Yala stepped forward, trying to sound calm. We are explorers. We come from the Empire. We found your planet by accident. We mean no harm. The Sentinel's eyes narrowed. The last Empire that came here said the same. They are gone now. Suddenly, the Sentinel raised its arm. A hologram appeared in the air above them. They saw ships in the sky, alien ships, not human, firing beams into Earth's surface. Then they saw them fall burning, broken, ripped apart by something massive below the clouds. The hologram vanished. Earth remembers. Up in orbit, Commander Thren paced. This is a trap, he said. That thing Arcos. 7, it didn't stop us. It let us leave. But why? Enar spoke quietly. Maybe it wanted us to bring more people, wake up more systems. Jorah added. Commander, the team on the ground just activated something else. Another structure, but different. Suddenly, the main screen on the bridge changed. A voice spoke directly through the ship's speakers. Calm, cold, you touched. Forbidden ground. The image on the screen showed the science team below, now surrounded by metal walls rising from the ground. They were trapped. Let them go, Thren said aloud. No reply. No reply. Instead, a countdown appeared on the screen. 60, 59, 58. What is this? Jorah asked. It's a test, Inar whispered. We triggered something. Back on the surface, the Sentinel turned toward the team. Prove your worth, or be erased. The ground below, the team cracked, opening a path downward. We can't go down there, a soldier shouted. We have no choice, Dr. Yala replied. They moved cautiously, down the steps, into the dark. The walls pulsed with soft lights. Every step echoed. Strange machines, frozen in time, lined the hallway's massive cannons, drone launchers, armor suits too big for humans. They reached a chamber filled with pillars and symbols. Suddenly, the lights turned red dot from the shadows. 3 figures walked out. They looked human, but they were tall, silent, and their eyes glowed. Are they real? Someone asked. The Sentinel's voice returned. These are echoes, memory, guardians, win or die. The 3 figures attacked with speed faster than any living thing. One soldier was struck down instantly. The others opened fire. But their bullets vanished in mid-dash air. Dr. Yala screamed, It's a simulation. Aim for the ground. They blasted the floor, causing the light beams to flicker. The echoes hesitated. Yala ran forward, grabbing a glowing device from a pillar and slamming it into the ground. A pulse spread through the room. The echoes froze, then vanished. The lights turned blue. You passed, the Sentinel said. The door ahead opened slowly. Inside the next chamber, the team found something incredible. A single pod. Inside it, a sleeping human, alive, perfectly preserved, floating, in a blue liquid, connected to machines too advanced to understand. Is this? Yala asked. The Sentinel spoke once more. He is the first builder, guardian of Earth's last memory. From orbit, Thren and the crew watched as the towers lit up again. Then, Earth sent a signal. This time, not a warning. It was a message. You woke one. Soon, they will all wake. Leave now, or face what comes. Thren turned to Jorah. Prepare a full report. We've stepped into something bigger than war. Earth, once forgotten, was no longer silent. It had defenses, guardians, secrets, and now it had started to awaken. The stars above Earth looked peaceful, but below that silence, something ancient had begun to stir. Inside the moon's surface, hidden chambers unlocked. Deep in the ocean trenches, mechanical cities hummed quietly. On land, structures once thought to be mountains began to breathe. Earth was waking up. Commander Thren stood on the bridge of the Vakralize, locked on the new data streaming in. Report, he ordered. Jorah looked tense. Multiple energy surges detected across Earth, not just from Arco 7. At least 6 other sources now showing power. Are they weapons? Not yet, Jorah replied. But the energy signature is the same as Arco's. If one of those wakes completely, he didn't need to finish the sentence. Thren turned to his communication officer. Any response from the science team? Still underground? Last message said they found something. A stasis pod. Meanwhile, far below Earth's surface, In a glowing blue chamber, Dr. Yala stared at the sleeping figure inside the pod. The man was tall, muscular, and perfectly preserved. His hair floated in the blue liquid. A thin cable connected the back of his neck to the pod's walls. "Is he human?" a soldier asked. The sentinel nearby answered, "He is the first builder. His name was Alias. He designed Earth's guardians before the Great Silence." Yala walked closer. "He's still alive?" "Yes, his mind is inside the core network, the final command center for Earth's defense system." Suddenly, the pod lights flashed red. The man's eyes opened. Above Earth, on the Vacral, all screens flickered. A strange symbol appeared. A strange symbol appeared to circular shape. "Like a sun trapped in chains," new signal detected, Jorah said. "Not a threat. A connection request." "What does that mean?" Thren asked. "The ships?" AI spoke calmly. "Earth is trying to link to our systems." Inar looked alarmed. "It wants to talk to us." "No," Jorah replied slowly. "It wants to talk to him." He pointed to the screen where the sleeping human had just opened his glowing eyes. Back underground, the pod released a hiss. The blue fluid drained quickly. The man stepped out, bare feet touching the cold metal floor. Dr. Yala stepped back. As he looked at her, he didn't speak, but she heard him. In her mind, a calm voice said, "You are not one of mine." "But you woke me," she gasped. "You're speaking inside my head." The man looked around. "Where are the others?" Dr. Yala replied softly, "Dead, a long time ago. Thousands of years." Alias lowered his head. "Then I am the last." Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the tunnel. Outside, the ground cracked open. A tower rose again, this one larger than before, black with red veins of light. On the Vacral, Jorah shouted, "Another guardian just powered up. This one, it's not." "Like Arcos, it's aggressive," Commander Thren ordered. "Scan for weapons. Defensive shields up," but it was too late. From the tower's peak, a beam of red light shot into orbit. The Vacral was hit, not destroyed, but completely disabled. Every screen went dark. Every engine powered down. Only one thing remained functional. The communication screen, showing the face of the man below. Alias looked into the screen. He saw Thren. He saw the ship. He spoke calmly. "You are trespassers, but you woke me. That is unfortunate." Thren replied, "We didn't know. We didn't mean to wake anything. We were just exploring." Alias nodded slowly. "Intentions don't change actions. Earth was put to sleep for a reason," Inar interrupted. "What reason?" Alias turned his head slightly. "To protect the galaxy from us." Dr. Yala looked confused. "From humans, yes," Alosa said. "We became too powerful, too dangerous, so we locked ourselves away." "But why wake up now?" Yala asked. "Because," he said, "you found us." Up in orbit, alarms came back online. Jorah shouted, "Commander, Earth just launched a signal probe. It's moving, faster than light." "What's the target?" Jorah's eyes widened. "One of our colony's helix station." "Why?" Thren demanded. Jorah, read the signal's content. "It's not an attack, it's a warning." The screen flickered again. Alias was no longer alone. Other faces appeared behind him, 3 more humans, waking up from other pods. Alias spoke calmly. "We are returning, not as conquerors, as guardians. But if threatened, Earth will defend itself." Thren clenched his fists. "So this is a threat?" Alice's glowing eyes narrowed. "No, Commander. This is a promise, below the Earth's crust." Massive machines activated. Giant cannons rotated into place, orbit tracking satellites realigned, and in the cold void of the moon, the largest machine of all the lunar spears lowly opened its eye. Dr. Yala asked softly, "What will you do now?" Alias looked up at the ceiling, then toward the stars. "Wake the rest." The sentinel beside him turned toward a wall. A panel opened, revealing a glowing switch. Alias placed his hand on it. "Wait," Yala said. "If you wake the others, what happens to us?" Alias looked at her, expressionless. "That depends. Do you choose peace, or do you choose fear?" Yala stepped back in silence. He pressed the switch. In orbit, the crew of the Vacral saw it all. From every continent on Earth, massive towers rose, glowing, humming, reaching toward the sky. Over each tower, then a message flashed across all screens. Human Protocol, Phase 1 activated. The Empire had discovered Earth, but they had also awakened the planet killer, and now it was fully awake. The stars above Earth were no longer silent. All across the planet, towers of black metal had risen huge, glowing with white-blue light. They hummed like ancient machines awakening from a deep sleep. In space, the Empire's ship Vacral drifted silently. Its engines were off. Its weapons were useless. It had been locked in place by an invisible Force Earth's guardian. Commander Thren stood at the bridge window, staring down at the planet. "What is that thing doing?" Enar asked nervously. "Waiting," Thren replied. "Waiting for what? Before?" Anyone could answer. The lights inside the ship flickered. Then the same calm, deep voice returned broadcast into their minds. "You have woken me. You will now listen." Far below, inside the core chamber, Alias stood in front of a giant round platform. Around him, more cryopods opened humans rising one by one. All had glowing eyes. All were calm, silent, strong. They didn't speak with mouths. They spoke with thoughts connected to the system. Connected to a ARKOS-7. ARKOS-7 was not just a machine. It was Earth's last line of defense, a planet-sized warship, and it was alive. Dr. Yala stood beside Alias, watching as more Guardians awakened. "You said you were builders," she whispered. "But this is a fortress." Alias looked at her with soft eyes. "We were forced to become warriors. Centuries ago, long before the Empire even existed, humanity had grown beyond the stars. They created machines that could shape worlds, ships that could destroy moons, weapons that could silence entire civilizations. And enemies came. Not one, not too many. In the end, humanity had only one choice: disappear and take their most dangerous creations with them. So they built ARKOS-7. Not as a weapon to conquer, but as a shield to protect. Then they vanished. Now, Earth's Guardian had awakened again, and it saw the Empire as a threat in orbit. The Vacral systems flashed with a new message: demonstration, initiating outer defense protocols. Thren turned to Jorah. "Mean look," Jorah whispered, pointing at the screen. From Earth's surface, giant beams of blue light shot straight into space. They connected in a triangle pattern around the planet. Then, something shimmered into view. A shield one large enough to cover the whole planet. A force field. It glowed for a few seconds, then vanished. "No known technology can do that," Enar said. "Not on this scale," Thren's jaw tightened. "We need to warn the Empire." But just as he said it, another alarm went off. "Commander," Jorah shouted. "A destroyer ship is arriving from the Empire fleet." Thren's eyes widened. "No, tell them to stop. Too late." A massive Empire-class destroyer dropped out. Of hyperspace near Earth, it sent no greeting, no warning. It charged weapons instantly. "They think we're under attack," Thren muttered. "They're here to destroy Arcos." On Earth, ARKOS-7 responded. Its voice filled every ship system. Every mind, unprovoked aggression detected. Deploying Guardian Protocol, the ocean near South America split open. From beneath the waves. A massive shape rose long, sharp, covered in rotating plates and glowing veins. It looked like a creature, but it was pure machine. It was over 30 kilometers long. The destroyer launched its first missile. The Guardian didn't dodge. It absorbed the blast. Then it fired a single pulse of white energy in orbit. The Vacral crew watched in silence. The destroyer didn't explode. It just vanished. Not a sound, not a spark, just gone. Jorah gasped. I can't find any debris, no heat, no radiation." Enar whispered, "What kind of weapon does that?" Thren answered quietly, "One that ends wars before they start." Down below, Alias watched the sky. 100 more Guardians were waking across the planet. Machines that had slept for 10,000 years were now returning to full power. But Alias didn't look proud. He looked sad. Dr. Yala asked him, "Why are you doing this? You could destroy the Empire." Alias replied, "We don't want destruction. We want to be left alone." The Empire didn't understand. To them, Earth was just another backwater planet, an ancient ruin with forgotten tech. But now they had seen the truth. Earth was not weak. It was not empty. It was a fortress, and Arco 7 was its shield. A new message flashed across all systems. Do not send more ships. Do not send more weapons. Leave this sector. Earth belongs to humanity. Thren stared at it in silence. JORAH said, Commander, if they don't listen, we're going to lose more than a ship. Thren nodded slowly. This is bigger than us, bigger than war. He opened a secure line to the Empire command. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, the Guardians stood around Alias. They were human, but more than human. Their eyes glowed like stars. Their minds were linked by ancient AI. Their hearts beat in sync with the planet itself. They were the last defense, and they had a single law: protect Earth at all costs. From the moon, the lunar spear finished its activation. Its massive cannon pointed outward, not toward Earth but toward the stars. Because Alias knew this was only the beginning. Someone else would come. Others would see the power. Earth now held, and they would not walk away peacefully as the stars turned above Arcosavan, sent one final message to the Empire. Your mistake was waking us. Your mercy will be leaving alive. The skies above Earth were quiet again. But that quiet wasn't peace. It was warning. The Empire's destroyer had been erased by Arcosavan's single shot. No debris, no trace. In silence, his crew waited for orders, but none came. He wasn't thinking about escape anymore. He was thinking about what they had awakened. ENA, her second officer, walked in. They're calling you again, he said softly. Thren didn't move. Let them wait. Inar nodded. He understood. The Vakral's command had sent messages for the last hour, angry loud and filled with disbelief. But Thren had seen it with his own eyes. One warship destroyed in a flash. One wrong step, and the Empire might lose everything. Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's crust, the core chamber pulsed with energy. Alias, the first builder, stood in front of a glowing wall. Lines of blue light formed maps, star maps, timelines, memories, behind him. Dr. Yala watched in silence as more Guardians woke from their pods. She had asked one question, and now she was getting the answer. Who were the humans? Alias pointed. To the star map. We were the first to leave Earth. Thousands of years ago, long before the Empire, humans had mastered faster-than-light travel. They colonized hundreds of worlds, built cities on gas giants, turned dead moons into weapons, and stars into power stations. They weren't explorers anymore. They became architects of war. But then, they made a mistake. A great war broke out against a race called the Varnica hive mind species that used black matter and devoured entire planets. The humans won, began to crack. They called it the Firestorm War. It ended with one final command: shut it all down, put Earth to sleep. Hide the weapons. So they buried their cities, shut down their ships, and placed their greatest war machines into deep slumber, including Arcus-7. Now, Alias looked at Dr. Yala. There were 12 of us left to remember, 12 to stand watch. I am the last one still. Alive, Yala asked. Why didn't you leave messages? Records, warnings. Alias turned back to the glowing wall. We did, but we knew curiosity would always return. That's why we left the Guardians. In orbit, Jorah received a strange data burst from the planet. Commander, he called out. We just got a history file. What kind? Massive, compressed, like a library. Thren nodded. Open it. They watched the screen as thousands of old human files, maps, videos, weapon designs, star charts, and battle records appeared, all in an old human script. But one file stood out. A warning. File title: Do not rebuild. We are humanity. We built gods and became one. But if you find this, then it means we failed to bury ourselves deep enough. Please, do not rebuild what we destroy. Let the galaxy live without us. We were too strong, too fast, too late to stop ourselves. Earth is not a home anymore. It is a memory, one best left forgotten. Jorah looked up. It's not a threat. It's guilt. But the Empire did not feel guilt. It felt fear, and fear brings fire. Hours later, from the Outer Rim, the largest fleet in Imperial history dropped out of hyperspace. 70 warships, 10 dreadnoughts, 3 siege carriers, and the Emperor's personal command cruiser. They didn't ask for permission. They came to erase a threat, and Earth was the target. Inside the Vacral, alarms screamed. Jorah shouted, "New contacts multiple coming in hot." Thren's heart sank. No, they didn't listen. Inar pointed at the screen. "Sir, Earth's shield is back," and it was growing brighter. On Earth, Arco 7 spoke for the first time in hours. "Incoming fleet detected. Requesting command." Alias placed his hand on the console. "Do not strike first." Arcos paused. "Defense protocol only." "Yes, let them choose." The Empire sent a message. "Lower your shields, disarm, or be destroyed." Earth responded with silence. Then a single pulse, not a weapon, a recording. The same warning that Thren saw: do not rebuild, do not repeat our mistakes. The Empire ignored it. The dreadnoughts charged their cannons. One of them, the Iron Storm, fired the first shot. A red beam of plasma tore through space, headed straight for the planet. The shield lit up. The blast struck. And for a second, the sky turned white, but the shield held, and Earth responded from under the surface. Hundreds of silos opened. From each, a sleek black missile launched, silent, glowing, without flame. They didn't explode. Instead, each missile split into thousands of tiny metal shards. The nanite cloud spread across space, coating ships like paint. Then they activated. Shields collapsed. Engines shut down. Weapons melted in their sockets. No explosions, no battles, just silence. Out of 70 ships, only 5 remained functional. The Emperor's cruiser turned away. Fled. Earth didn't chase it, just watched. Back on the Vacral, Thren finally spoke. They didn't want war. They wanted to be left alone. Inar nodded, and we didn't listen. In the core chamber, Alias shut down the alert. "Arcos," he said, "stand down." "They're gone." Awaiting next contact, the AI replied. Alias looked up at the stars. "They'll come again. They always do." Dr. Yala whispered. "Then what will you do?" Alias smiled, sad and calm. "We will protect Earth." The stars were quiet once more, but Earth remained ready. The fire of the past had returned, and this time it would not be lost again. The Empire had failed. They sent 70 of their best warships to destroy Earth. Only 5 survived. They returned home, damaged and silent, bringing with them the memory of what they had seen: a planet that could not be conquered, a weapon that could not be matched. A people who had once ruled the stars and were now waking again. Inside the halls of the Imperial Palace, fear spread like fire. Advisors shouted. Generals argued. The Emperor listened in silence. Finally, he stood. "We will not lose to ghosts. Send the extermination fleet." A new invasion force was formed. 300 ships, 10 supercarriers, 20 planet-killer cannons. This time, they wouldn't try to threaten Earth. They would burn it up in orbit. Aboard the Vacral commander, Thren read the report in disbelief. "There. Doing it again," he whispered. Inar stood beside him. "They didn't learn. They saw a god and still want to fight it." Jorah turned from his console. "What do we do, Commander?" Thren looked down at the blue and white world below. "We warned them, far beneath Earth's surface, in the core chamber." Alias watched new data flow through his mind. He saw the fleet. He knew their speed, their weapons, their plan. He didn't look surprised. "They're coming again." Dr. Yala said softly. Alias nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, but this time we are not alone." Across Earth, more cryopods opened. Men and women stepped out to come, glowing with soft light. Some were warriors, some were scientists. Some were builders of machines older than the Empire itself. Together, they formed the last circle, the final council of ancient humans. Only now, they were awake on the dark side of the moon. The lunar spear completed its full power cycle. Its core spun faster than light, gathering energy from Earth's magnetic field. Its barrel pointed toward the stars. "Waiting, let me speak to them," Thren requested. Sending a signal to Earth, Alias appeared on the Vacral screen, his face calm as always. "They will not listen to you," Alias said. "They are afraid, and afraid people fire first." "I know," Thren replied, "but I have to try." Aboard the Empire's lead Supakaya, General Varn stood on the bridge. He had fought dozens of campaigns. He had burned planets, broken rebel fleets. He didn't believe in ghosts or myths or ancient warnings, only power. Approaching Earth, the pilot said. Shall we begin? Wait for my order, Varn replied. Suddenly, a signal broke into the ship's systems. It was THRN on every screen. His face appeared. General, stop. You have no idea what you're about to do. Varn scowled. Commander Thren, I should have known you'd go native. This isn't about loyalty, Thren said. It's about survival. Varn didn't answer. Instead, he gave the order. Charge main cannons. Earth responded instantly from every Guardian tower. Bright blue beams rose again. A new structure appeared above the North Pole. Massive ring-shaped station covered in glowing runes. Arco 7 activated its global shield, and from deep inside, the planetary pulse engine, awakened JORAH, screamed from the Vacrol's console, Commander, Earth's surface temperature is rising. Magnetic fields are surging. They're powering up something big. On Earth, Allo stood in a chamber filled with swirling energy. He placed his hand on a crystal console. Protocol 7. Initiate. The sky split open. The lunar spear fired. A beam of pure gravity tore across space, bending light around it. It didn't hit a ship. It hit space itself, in the middle of the Imperial fleet. A hole appeared. A black sphere, silent dot, still dot. Then it pulled 10 ships, vanished in seconds, sucked into the void. Others tried to escape, but their engines failed. The beam stopped. The hole collapsed. Silence. General Varn stared at the screen. His fleet was in chaos. No damage reports, no debris, just loss, pull back, he said, voice shaking. Now, but Earth did not attack further. It held its fire and sent a final message to every ship, every base, every mind. This is your last mistake. Back in the core chamber, Allos turned to the last circle. It's done. They nodded. One of them, Mira, the mean architect, spoke quietly. They will remember now. But Allos wasn't sure. Fear forgets. Power forgets faster. And the galaxy was full of both. Later, Thren stood on the Vacrol's bridge, watching the stars. He looked at the glowing planet below. It had scared the Empire. It had survived the fire. But at what cost? In the Empire's heart, General Varn was removed from command. The Emperor ordered silence. Do not speak of Earth. Let no one learn the truth. But whispers had already begun. A hidden world, a sleeping race, a planet that fought back, and somewhere in deep space. A far older race watched Earth's light return. They remembered the humans. They remembered the wars. And they began to prepare because the galaxy had changed. Earth was no longer forgotten, and the Guardians had returned. The galaxy thought Earth would hide again. They thought the ancient humans would return to their silence, but they were wrong. This time, Earth had awakened for good, and this time, Earth would strike first. Commander Thren stood alone on the Vacrol's observation deck. The blue and white world below still glowed with power. It had defeated the Empire's strongest fleets without a single loss. Jorah walked in quietly. Message just came through. The last circle has made a decision. Thren turned. What decision? Jorah handed him a small glowing device. Earth is sending ships. Thren's eyes narrowed. Where? Straight into Imperial space, deep beneath Earth's surface in the command nexus. Allos and the Guardians stood in silence. A single map hovered above them, a star chart showing hundreds of systems across the galaxy. Red symbols marked every Empire base, supply hub, and Fleet.1 world was circled in gold. Velen Prime, the Empire's largest military factory. Allos spoke with no emotion. We will not destroy them. We will remind them. 3 ships rose silently from Earth's atmosphere. They looked small, sleek, silver, like ancient spears made of starlight. But they were not ships. They were arcs faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything still. Flying in the galaxy, each carried only to crew. Each was armed with planet-cracking potential. On board Arc 1, Allos sat in the pilot's chair. Beside him was Ira, the mind architect. Behind them, Earth grew smaller. Ahead of them, the Empire in Imperial Command panic spread. Spy satellites caught the launch. The images were blurry but enough to recognize the threat. One general stood up shouting, "They're attacking! Ready, every fleet!" But the Emperor raised a hand. "No," he said, "we will watch. This is not an invasion. This is a message." He knew. They all knew. If Earth truly wanted war, there would be no galaxy left. The 3 arcs passed through hyperspace undetected. No alarms, no warning. They arrived at Velen Prime in silence. The planet was a fortress. 6 orbital rings, hundreds of warships, giant cannons that could destroy moons. Alias stood up from his chair. "This is where they build the weapons," he said. "It ends here." Velen's defense systems locked onto the arcs. Thousands of missiles launched. Laser, walls activated, dot, and still. The arcs didn't move. They didn't dodge. They disappeared and reappeared on the surface. Inside the factory, within minutes, the entire planet shut down. Power failed. Weapons melted. Ships refused to launch. The arcs had sent a signal pulse into the planet's AI grid one, written in old human code. A code the machines still remembered. The signal said only one word: stand down. Velen's governor screamed into his comms, "I want every ship in the system to fire." But nothing worked. Then a hologram appeared in his command room. "Alias," he spoke calmly. "We built the tools you now use. We turned moons into weapons before your kind learned to walk. This is your warning." He raised his hand. The walls cracked. Steel bent like paper. Giant towers fell in perfect lines, not to destroy, but to erase the planet's military system. In under 30 minutes, Velen Prime was no longer a threat. And yet, not a single life was taken. Not a single bomb dropped. Not a single shot fired. Ira turned to Alias. "They will retaliate." Alias shook his head. "No, not after this." All across the Empire, news spread faster than any ship. "Earth has sent a message," Velen Prime disarmed in under an hour. "No deaths, no damage to civilians. The Guardians have returned." On the Vacral Thren received a private transmission. It was Alias. "I need you to carry a message," he said. "To who?" Thren asked. "To the ones beyond the Empire. The ones who are watching?" Thren nodded slowly. He knew who Alias meant. The old races, ancient civilizations that once fought with or against humanity during the Firestorm War. They had survived by hiding now. They were listening. Back in the core chamber on Earth, the Guardians gathered once more. One of them, Karun, the techsmith, spoke for the first time. "There are still weapons hidden across the galaxy," he said. "On dead worlds, in forgotten stations." Alias nodded. "We find them. We take them back. No one else should carry our fire." The arcs returned to Earth in silence. Behind them, the Empire didn't speak. It remembered. It feared. And for the first time, it respected, but far beyond, in the edge of a dying galaxy arm. A message echoed from a lost world. It was not human. It was not friendly. And it had been waiting. "Humanity has returned. Begin Phase 0. Contact the Hollow Ones." Back on Earth, Alias looked to the stars. He felt it. Something had awakened with them, something watching, something waiting, and Earth would strike again if it had to. Far beyond the edge of mapped space, something moved. A dead system. No stars, no light, just a cold darkness. But now in that silence, a signal pulsed once. Then again, old metal arms shifted open. Black towers rose from shattered moons. And in the center of it all, an eye opened mechanical, blood red, blinking after 10,000 years. The Hollow Ones were waking. On Earth, inside the core nexus, alarms flashed red. Alias stood before a glowing screen. Star maps twisted into new shapes, showing unknown sectors blinking with red symbols. Jorah's voice came through the Vacral's feed. "Commander, we're picking up ancient transmissions. Old language, pre-imperial." Alias read the symbols aloud. "Phase 0, target Earth, confirmed." The room fell silent. Dr. Yala asked, "Who are they?" Alias looked at the stars. "They were the ones who watched us die 10,000 years ago, when humanity turned its own machines into gods, and the galaxy caught fire. Some races fled, one race did not. They stayed behind, feeding off destruction." Learning from the dead, copying ancient technology without understanding it, they became hollow no minds, no souls, just rage and mimicry. They called themselves the Hollow Ones, and now they had seen the fire return inside the Empire. Panic had turned to silence. The Emperor's advisors were watching a deep space feed long-range probes catching shapes moving beyond the galactic edge. Black ships, silent fleets, not flying, crawling, each ship built from broken machines and bones of fallen worlds. The Emperor whispered, "They are not coming for us, they are coming for Earth." In the Nexus, Alias addressed the Guardians. "We've buried them once, deep, far away. But now, they rise." One Guardian, Ira, asked, "Do we strike first?" Alias nodded. "We must, before they reach the core systems." Before they touched the old sites, 3 arcs were launched again, this time with a full strike team of Guardians. Aboard Thren volunteered to go. "You'll need someone who speaks for the present," he told Alias, "not just the past." Alias placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're more human than many born today." They jumped into Sector Void 51, a dead zone. No signals, no heat, no life. But what they found was worse than war. A shattered planet, split in half like a cracked egg, floating above it. Black ships surrounded a glowing Cora weapon, built into the remains of an old human fortress. "They've taken it," Ira said, horrified. "One of the vaults." These vaults were buried long ago, places where Earth had hidden weapons too dangerous to destroy. Now, the Hollow Ones were trying to break in. The Guardians deployed silently. They didn't speak. They moved like light. One by one, they landed. On the broken surface, no resistance until they reached the vault's edge. Then the darkness moved. Black machines, shaped like spiders and serpents, crawled from the cracks. Their armor wasn't steel. It was organic metal living, half-dead. They had no faces, only mouths, and when they screamed, it sounded like grinding teeth. The first wave hit hard. 3 Guardians were pulled into the dark, their bodies dissolved into dust. Ira screamed, "Fall back." But Alias moved forward. He raised his arm, and light surged from his palm. Not fire, not bullets, but memory. A shockwave of encoded energy swept across the field, reminding the enemy of what Earth was. The hollow machines shuddered. For a moment, they paused, and then they attacked harder. "They're evolving," Thren shouted. "They're learning every second." "We need to destroy the vault," Ira said, "but that'll release what's inside," Thren replied. Alias answered calmly, "Then we must choose the lesser evil." Deep below the surface, the team reached the vault core. It was still sealed, its energy, locked by a genetic key. Only a prime human could open it. Alias stepped forward. He placed his hand on the lock. The system scanned him match. "First builder." Access granted. The doors opened. Inside was a single, ancient machine round, floating, glowing gold. A device made to delete planets without leaving a trace. It was called the Silent End. Thren whispered, "If they take this," Alias nodded. "The galaxy dies." Outside, the Hollow Ones were almost through. Time was over. Alias turned to Ira, "Get Thren and the others back to the Ark." "What about you?" she asked. "I'll activate the core. It needs a builder's presence." Thren stepped forward. "There has to be another way." Alias smiled. There never was. He placed his hand on the Silent End. It began to glow. Outside, the arcs lifted from the surface. Black ships tried to follow, but the vault lit up its entire surface, turning gold. Then, nothing. Not an explosion, just pure erasure. The planet was gone. So were the Hollow Ones on it, and so was Alias back on Earth. The Nexus dimmed. Dr. Yala fell to her knees. Ira returned hours later, silent eyes full of grief. "He's gone," she said, "but he saved us all." But even as the room mourned, the stars changed again. More hollow signals. Dozens, hundreds. "They've seen us," Ira said, "and now they're all coming." The Guardians stood taller. The Empire listened silently, and Earth began building again. This time, not to hide, but to fight, because the Hollow Ones had stirred, and humanity would not fall. Again, the stars were darker now. filled with quiet signals and silent warnings as the Hollow Ones spread like a disease through the edges of the galaxy, feeding on forgotten weapons and ruined stations while Earth and the last Guardians prepared. For the final storm, across the planet, factories that had not moved in 10,000 years came alive once more. Towers that once served as archives were now war foundries, and the moon pulsed with light as the lunar spear rebuilt its second core. But in the center of all, deep inside Earth's nexus chamber, something even more important had begun and seen by many, but more powerful than any weapon: the unlocking of the last Builder's Code, a hidden failsafe left by Alias before his sacrifice. Only the first builders could access it, but when Alias vanished with the destruction of the vault, he left behind a key inside Earth's core systems, encrypted with his neural signature. It was Ira who found it by accident when scanning the final memory wave left behind in the Ark. The data pulse was faint, buried beneath layers of starlight and memory locks, but it carried his voice calm, steady, and absolute. If you are hearing this, then I am gone. But the war is not. What I leave behind is not a weapon, it is a choice. Ira stared at the screen as the code unfolded before her, lines of ancient language flowing like rivers of light, each string connecting to dormant nodes across the galaxy, each one leading to a different vault, a different secret. The Hollow Ones were not just rising, they were following something. A signal, a call. A piece of stolen builder tech known as the Ecoseta Forbidden AI Mind, once meant to control planets, but lost during the Firestorm War. Now the Hollow Ones had found it, and they were feeding it. Worse, it was learning, growing, copying. The builders themselves. Ira called the council together, and the Guardians stood silent as she shared Alice's last command. The code didn't just contain maps or weapon blueprints. It contained the Prime Lock Protocol, a system command that could shut down every builder artifact across the galaxy in one stroke. But to use it, someone would have to merge with the Earth core fully, permanently, and with no return. We will lose one of our own, but if we don't, the Hollow Ones will become us. Across the chamber, Thren stepped forward. His face was calm, older now, no longer a mere observer. "Then let me be the one." Gasps filled the room. "You're not Builderborn," someone whispered. "I'm not," he answered, "but I carry their memories. I carry his words." Alias believed I was human enough. Ira hesitated, then nodded. "You may not be of their blood, but you are of their spirit." Inside the core nexus, Thren approached the fusion gate. Liquid light circled his body. Old systems scanned his soul, not just his brain, and they accepted him. The Builder's Code opened fully. Earth trembled. Orbiting stations rebooted. Guardian towers across every continent lit up with blue fire. Forgotten ships in asteroid belts turned toward Earth and awaited commands. And somewhere, beyond the rim, the Echo Seed paused. For the first time, it hesitated. It had felt a presence it hadn't expected. Unity. The Hollow fleets were still coming, hundreds of thousands of ships. All mindless, all hunting, but now, Earth was no longer waking up. It was leading, and Thren. To every defense node, every vault lock, every Guardian AI. This is Thren of Earth. He spoke through the stars, his voice echoing across long-range comms. To the Empire, to the free systems, to the old races hiding in the dark. Join US or fall alone. Earth stands, and this time we remember who we are. The reply came first from Mars Colony, then from the Outer Ring alliances, then surprisingly from a broken Varnak outpost that once fought against humans but now sent a single word: together. The stars had shifted. The Hollow Ones would not stop, but now they would be met, not by silence, but by the united voice of mankind reborn, armed not just with weapons but with memory, fire, and the Builder's final promise. The next battle would be the last, and Earth would not fight it alone. The galaxy held its breath as the Hollow Ones arrived in force black ships, swarming from the edge of known space like a living storm, devouring light, warping gravity, and silencing entire star systems in minutes. But this time, they did not face a scattered people or forgotten ruins. They faced a reborn Earth, awakened and united, with the last Builder's Code burning through every Guardian arc and allied world. Now linked through the core nexus where Thren, once a mere observer, now stood as the living conduit of ancient human fire. Around Earth, thousands of Guardian-class weapons formed a perfect ring, while the moon shone with solar cannons and Mars, once silent, pulsed red with new fleets rising to join the defense. From the Empire's edge came fleets bearing old flags, war-scarred and cautious but ready. From the Varnak hive came drones bearing ancient debts. Even old AI Coruscant's enemy Mines Ridge joined their makers, whispering in unity across data channels, "We stand with Earth." The stars turned blood red as the Hollow Ones launched their final attack. Millions of ships, living metal carrying the Echo Seed, now grown into a monstrous god machine. As it approached, systems died. Suns flickered. But Thren's voice rose through the network, not with fear, but command. "This is Earth. We do not run. We do not forget. Fire everything." And the sky answered. Light erupted from every platform. Gravity spears tore holes in space. Time-split missiles struck ships before they could form, and the lunar spear bent dimensions themselves, hurling half the Hollow fleet into uncharted nothingness. Yet the Echo Seed endured, absorbing, learning, adapting into Lyra. Deep inside the moon core, activated Protocol Zero, the last forbidden code, Alias had buried inside the system. It was not a weapon, it was a mirror, a reflection of what made humans more than machines: choice, memory, and sacrifice. The Echo Seed paused as its own copies turned against it, confused by emotion. Flooded by old human memories injected through the Builder Code, and in that moment, Thren stepped into the core nexus and made the final override, merging fully, body and soul, with the planetary system, burning himself into Earth's core forever. A single white pulse flashed across the stars. Then silence. The Hollow Ones froze, their systems unraveling, their stolen minds collapsing into silence. One by one, their ships fell not with fire, but like dust and wind. The Echo Seed cracked, howled like a wounded god, and then shattered its scream, echoing through deep space before fading forever. The war was over. Earth lived. Humanity stood tall, again, not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as guardians of light and balance. Statues were raised not just for warriors, but for builders, for thinkers, for those like Alos Era, and Thren, whose names became part of every child's first lesson. The stars were no longer cold, they were watching, and Earth, once forgotten, had become the heart of a new future, one built not on fear, but on the memory of fire, the pain of loss, and the power of never giving up. The final dawn had come, and humanity greeted it not as survivors, but as legends reborn.